Am I the asshole for not getting special treats for a neighbor kid who has a disability? Every year at Halloween we give out chips instead of candy. My wife and I think it's fun for the kids to get chips to go along with their candy. We buy ahead of time at Costco so there's always plenty. What we don't use will be saved for things like barbecue later in the year so people can have their own bags of chips. I have a neighbor Debbie who is really upset about the potato chips we give Put because her kid don't eat them. She thinks we should offer some other options to her kid because he has a disability. I don't think that's fair and I told her it's extremely rude to ask people who are giving out free stuff for Halloween to change things for just one kid and I told her I'm not doing it. When her child comes and knocks on my door he gets chips like everyone else. I let the kids pick the types of chips from the bowl that they like and one feel like that's more than generous. Debbie said other neighbors are accommodating her child disability for Halloween and I should think of others. I'm older so I think a child should be grateful for whatever they get for free on Halloween and not expect special treatment for a disability when getting free items. Edit. My wife and I decided we don't want to deal with it anymore and will be donating the chips to the local school and churches for their Halloween party. Lights off at our house. Not the asshole. So, my kid is on the autism spectrum, and he only eats Skittles, Littles and Sour Punch bites. He will not touch any other candy, and trying to bribe him to taste it just leads to him gagging until he pukes. You are not responsible for accommodating every fucking kid on Halloween. You're a freaking person, not some business, organization, giving out free candy. The only accommodation I would ever think of asking for would involve me, the parent, providing the treats and just asking the neighbors to give my kid that thing. Nope, nope, nope. She thinks we should offer some other options to her kid because he has a disability. And she's free to think that, she just isn't free to require it of you. Wow, lol, the nerve. If her kid doesn't like it, he can trade with another kid for something he does like. Just like the rest of us and our kids have done. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. New level of entitlement there. Part of Halloween for me was always trading the stuff you don't like with friends as we trick-or-treated or siblings when I got home. If nobody wanted it, it went to my parents. You're not required to provide snacks for any of the children. If the child doesn't like chips, can't eat chips, he can skip your house. It's not like you're causing the child to starve. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Debbie sounds like an extremely entitled person. What about kids with chocolate allergies? Should they go around demanding potato chips? Not the asshole. If it bothers your neighbor so much, she can provide something for you to give her kid. Am I the asshole for letting my ex and my kids' half-siblings be poor when I could help? I have an ex with whom I shared 2 kids, 13M and 12M. Our relationship did not work out and we broke up 7 years ago. Since I was the financially stable one, she wanted me to have full custody. I have had full custody ever since. She has visitation, but she only uses it intermittently. Quickly after the breakup, she started dating a guy with money. He is from overseas. She quickly got pregnant by the guy and they had a son. The guy did not want to raise someone else's kids, so she moved 3 hours away and completely stopped seeing our kids for almost 2 years. It turns out the guy's money was actually family money, and when his conservative family found out about my ex and the baby, they cut them off. Also, their son had some developmental issues. She got pregnant again and a few months later, her boyfriend left and returned to his home country. She is now 6-ish months pregnant with no job and taking care of a special needs kid. She called me last week and asked me for financial help. They are living out of a motel and she is running out of money. I have a lake house about 30 minutes from her. She asked if she could stay there. I said, no. She asked if I would send her money. I said, no. She called me an AH. She said that I am letting my family suffer unnecessarily when I have the means to help. I told I have no obligation to help. We have been arguing ever since. Am I the asshole? Not the asshole. You have responsibilities to your kids, as did she. But she doesn't have custody, so let's say that's not part of this particular question. You do not have responsibility to your ex or any other kids she has. She can call you anything she wants. She's your ex. You can facilitate visitation or anything else that's for the benefit of your 2 children. But it's more than reasonable to say no to anything else. She needs to chase the other kid's father, or other family, down for their support, if she can. Not the asshole. 1. You have 2 kids with an absent mother to raise. Don't let her guilt you. 2. Helping in this case will lead to dependence. She'll not leave your home and expect you to support her. 3. You should not become a financial crutch for an ex that makes really bad decisions. 4. Having 1 half-siblings doesn't make you, specifically, your finances family. 5. If her kids are suffering, it is because of her poor decisions, not yours. 6. Calling you for money and not for the kids she basically abandoned should say all you need to know. You have no obligations to her. Make sure you've got cameras at the lake house or neighbors who can tell you if she trespasses, because unless you can stop her, she could and probably will just show up at the lake house and stay there without your permission. Not the asshole you have full custody, let her rot. She's not your family and never was. She can enjoy the bedbug-infested motel. Also, if she's living in a motel, do not let her in your home, and if she visits your kids, make sure they don't let her inside or go inside the motel. The last thing you need are roaches or bedbugs from a motel. Not the asshole. She's your ex, not your family. Her kids are unrelated to you and not your family. She made her choices and it's up to her to handle the consequences. You have neither legal nor moral obligations to give her charity. Your family is not suffering because you won't give her money. She's no longer your family, especially since she's barely family to the children you share. Not the asshole. Am I the asshole for telling my friend to stop mentioning pictures my wife posts? I've got a friend who the last couple of years has turned a bit tatty. He has been wronged by a couple of women in the past couple of years. One left him and got married within 3 months. The other stole a lot of his money. But he seems to have a particular dislike for women selling content or just generally being confident in how they look. That point brings me on to my wife. She's 39 and we've been together since school. She's a very fit and attractive woman and her main hobby is pole dancing. She loves it and has been doing it for a few years. She's really good and she loves it so much. It's great to see her really excelling at something and being so passionate about it. She posts a lot of pictures and video of herself pole dancing on accounts that only friends can follow, so it's not like she does this for attention, even though I've told her if she ever wanted to I wouldn't mind, as a few of her friends have quite big followings and sometimes when they do shows my wife is in the photos and videos and gets a lot of positive comments. At the weekend I went to my friend's to help him with some DIY and he asked me if I mind my wife posting what she posts. I said not at all, it doesn't bother me. He then said, "You're part of the problem. Women are getting too much ego and it's bad enough when it's single women, but married women shouldn't be doing that." I told him if he's that bothered then don't look and unfollow her. He said that won't change anything and it's the culture being created around women getting validation for their bodies or some shit like that. I got a bit wound up at this point and asked him if he'd like to ring my wife and tell her himself. He said no, he was just talking to me man to man and I need to grow a backbone. I told him I'm not the one with the backbone problem if he can't handle a bit of flesh and gets offended by it and he's the weak one. I ended up leaving and a few mutual friends have said that while I was right he's going though a hard time and is a bit vulnerable to this way of thinking. I personally think that's bullshit and we need to tell him he's heading down a wrong path. Me and my friend are both 41, I forgot to mention that. Too long did not read. Friend is heading down a Tate wormhole and said my wife shouldn't be posting pictures of herself pole dancing. I told him to grow up and not be so easily offended. Not the asshole. He then said, "You're part of the problem. Women are getting too much ego and it's bad enough when it's single women, but married women shouldn't be doing that." This mindset is why this man is single. I would be dropping this guy as a friend after this comment. Two bad apples doesn't ruin the whole apple tree. He said no, he was just talking to me man to man and I need to grow a backbone. What he wants you to do is be controlling and force your wife to stop a hobby she enjoys. Pole dancing isn't always seen in an inappropriate light, many people do it in an art form. Also, to clarify, even if she was doing it in an inappropriate way it would still be okay because you're fine with it. That's all that matters. Not the asshole. Good job standing up for your wife's right to enjoy a hobby and be confident. I agree with you about letting him know you, and hopefully your other friends, don't agree with these new views he's taking on. If the people around him just let his comments go without any pushback or worse, agreement, it'll only make him feel validated and justified and more comfortable with these new views. He needs to understand that just because he's been hurt by 2 women, doesn't give him the okay to be a misogynist. Even without all that, what business is it of his what your wife does anyways? You're part of the problem. Women are getting too much ego and it's bad enough when it's single women, but married women shouldn't be doing that. The correct response is, you are an asshole, not the asshole. This whole friendship is coming into question if this dude is going this path. Wow, not the asshole, and I'm really happy to read how you've responded to him. Edit. He has been wronged by a couple of women in the past couple of years. One left him and got married within 3 months. The other stole a lot of his money. This sounds like a him problem and not a women problem. Not the asshole. Tater tots should be called out every time they spew their toxic, misogynistic bullshit. Going through a hard time doesn't excuse the bullshit. Not the asshole. Good for you for sticking up for your wife and other women, even when they're not in the room. Men like this only have something to say behind a computer screen or under his breath to other people. I woulda said the same thing, say it to her face then. These men are miserable, and will always be miserable. They are scared of women, let's face it. Am I the asshole for confronting my daughter-in-law about her constant lying and refusing to apologize? I, 56F, have a son and things have been tense because of his wife, Emily, 28F. I've noticed over the past year that Emily tends to stretch the truth or flat out lie about things, both big and small. At first, it was little things like saying she couldn't come to family dinners because of work, only to post on social media that she was out with friends. Then it escalated to bigger things. One example that really bothered me happened recently. We were both supposed to attend a charity fundraiser. I was there the entire evening and never saw her. When I later asked if she had made it, she insisted that she had been there the whole time and even said she saw me but was too busy to come say hi. This wasn't true. I know for a fact she wasn't there. The volunteers list was small and I definitely would have seen her. We were all in the same room. More recently, she lied about something involving a family event. We were planning a small gathering for my husband's birthday, and Emily told me she'd arranged a cake from his favorite bakery. The day of the party, she showed up empty-handed, claiming they lost the order. When I called the bakery to see what happened, they had no record of any order ever being placed. That was the last straw for me. I pulled her aside later and confronted her about her constant lying. I tried to be calm and respectful, but I told her that her dishonesty was starting to affect how I viewed her and that it was creating tension in the family. She literally messed up my husband's birthday with these lies. She completely denied it and got really upset, saying I was making her out to be a bad person and that I was overreacting. My son got involved and is now angry with me. The whole thing has caused a rift, and now Emily refuses to come to any family gatherings unless I apologize. I feel like I had every right to call her out, and I have nothing to apologize for. Not the asshole. I could not tolerate that lying either. Apparently your son does tolerate it? Or he's in denial? You may have to choose between being right and having a relationship with your son, unfortunately. Tell her to provide some proof, any proof that she was in that store to place an order for a cake in the days preceding her statement and your husband's birthday, and if she can, you'll apologize. She can't. Not the asshole. Do enjoy the family gatherings with sincerity and honesty. Think you have a bigger issue. Your dill doesn't want to be in your company and uses white lies to justify avoiding you. Calling her out is unlikely to have helped. Maybe time for a bigger conversation about why she prefers not to be where you are. The cake though, she was asshole for that. Not the asshole. Strange behavior. If the bakery really lost the order, they wouldn't have a record of it, so you calling the bakery was pointless. This by itself is not a proof of anything. While I understand that her lying is frustrating, I also see mostly white lies, where she possibly didn't want to hurt you. Is she worried about disappointing you? You disapproval? Is she also lying about something really serious, like money, affairs, criminal history? Have you talked to your son? Not the asshole, but I would truly just never believe another word that comes out of her mouth. I'll be there to volunteer. No thank you. We've got it covered. I'll order the cake from the bakery. Actually, I'm going to try something different this year and want it to be a surprise. My brother lied, still lies? All the time? I don't believe a thing he says, so I simply don't depend on him for anything important. It's a sad state of affairs, but the only way to make peace with it, at least for me. Is your son oblivious to the lies, or does she only spin these tales with you? Everyone knew my brother lied, so whenever he'd exaggerate something we all just rolled our eyes or gave each other a look. There was no point calling it out because everyone knew.